want to say welcome. Man, we get to have a conversation with you today and get to have you at the coat tonight. Man, I think that we've been really excited when it comes to kind of thinking about young adults and having you here because, number one, you're from Minnesota, but number two, you love young adults. So we kind of want to hear something. So this is Nate, if you guys don't know him, and he'll be at the coat tonight. But we want to hear, man, you grew up in Minnesota.
Yes, I did.
Tell me about that kind of experience.
Yeah. Well, first, you guys saying that you're excited. I am so excited. You called me. I'm so excited that when you called me or texted me, I was at the hospitals it was either the day my daughter was born or the day after. And my wife had literally just given birth. She's like barely awake and knowing what's going on. I'm like, hey, I need to make a phone call. I would do that for no one else other than Grace Church. So, I mean, it's so fun to get to be here. So, it's been months and months of planning.
Yeah, I think I texted you and was like, I know that you just had a baby, so don't answer.
Did
I think you had just literally posted online, and I was like, this is random that I have your number, and please don't feel like you got to answer this. And you're like, bro,
No,
hit me up right now.
Church, I've got to answer. I was so excited by it. Truly, I mean, I would not be texting or talking to other people while in the hospital. So, can't wait to be here. So I grew up, 3 minutes from here. My parents' house is 3 minutes from here. I went to Eden Prairie High School, the best school in the state. So, at least it was. We would win back-to-back state football championships. So I don't know. I guess not anymore. Edina won this year. But, yeah, I grew up actually going to another church in the area, but came to know Jesus really. My parents love Jesus. We're in church all the time. Really feel like I came to know him in like 5th grade, but no one else that I knew loved Jesus, really. So I was just kind of following him through middle school and through high school and then really radically going into my junior year of high school. Some of the guys that I played football with and basketball with were just completely different human beings. And they had gone to a church camp that summer, really got radically saved. They went from getting drunk, partying, to now sharing the gospel with everyone, inviting me to their church, and got plugged in there. And those are some of the most fulfilling years of my life, my junior and senior year, because I got to be with believers that love Jesus. And it was just a blast to get to grow up with people that love Jesus. So some of them grew up here at Grace, and this place has so impacted me and my friends. So it's so good to be in the room with you guys.
Yeah, like Dave Gibson's kids.
Yep.
Brian Vaughn's kids.
Brian Vaughn's son Curtis is one of my best friends in the world, and then Brian Vaughn's daughter Maddie married one of my other best friends. So very connected to them and Dave Gibson, and yeah. My first ever concert was at Grace Church, Mercy Me, back in 2004. So,
I think that's true for a lot of people, actually. We hear stories all the time, like my first entrance into Grace Church was I went to, Dave Crowder or whoever.
Yep.
Is that even a person?
Yes.
Yes, okay, good.
Well,
That's crazy.
You know who David Crowder
I was
is?
questioning myself. I was like, what am I
Unbelievable.
thinking? Okay, so Minnesota,
Yeah.
grew up here. Eventually you leave.
I did
And you
leave.
leave to the great state of Texas?
Oh yeah.
First?
That's all I've ever been. Okay. Because it's -1 today. I'm like, and then I don't even know if you saw this on Friday. You're probably used to this. It's like -8 is the high. So so I'm like, man, where should I go to school? Knew I wanted to go into ministry, and so looked all over the country and found a school called Baylor University down in Waco, and they had a religion program, and I toured that school and really loved it. I wanted to go to a school with Division I sports, and Bethel's amazing here, I think, but it was just smaller than I think even my high school was. So
you knew you wanted to go into ministry?
Yeah, I felt ever since 10th grade, I'm like, man, I want to be a pastor. If I could do that, that would be amazing. So went to Baylor down in Waco, Texas in 2012, and I've never in a million years would I think that I'd still be there, but I've lived there now for 13 years and still going to the same church that I went my first Sunday my freshman year at Baylor, and I've been on staff now for 10 years. So
Yeah, there's something about committing to something for a long time.
Yeah.
Like long obedience in the same direction, like over and over.
Yeah.
That I think is pretty special. Like getting to be there for 13 years is kind of a big deal. You talk about calling. Okay, so as we think about young adults, the big questions they're asking about are, what am I going to do? What am I created for? Who am I going to meet? what does it mean to pursue something that has like lifelong significance for you? You kind of hit on this a little bit, but like calling stuff, like how would you say you process that whole calling to pastoral ministry? Maybe you were high school and you're like, I was just inspired by something, but then it became real later. I don't know. But
Yeah. Well, yeah, my calling into ministry, I was raised in a Lutheran church here, and there was our lead pastor was a great communicator, and then I would just say there was an assistant pastor who maybe wasn't as great, and he taught pretty frequently, and the worship was very traditional in a way that I don't personally connect with. So it's like organ songs I don't understand, a lot of times teaching that I didn't understand, and I like loved Jesus at the time, and I just would leave church so angry, and there was no youth ministry. And I was like, man, the gospel's the most important thing in the world. None of my friends know Jesus. I can't bring them to this church. There's no youth ministry here. The service itself is not engaging at all. So I just had this like deep frustration of like, man, I love Jesus and I don't like going to church. And then my friends had this transformation. They invited me to their church. I got to see a youth ministry done so well with engaging worship, engaging teaching, and I was like, this is what I want to do the rest of my life. Like if I can, I'll hold doors here. I'll do whatever, and also feel like the Holy Spirit put on my heart to, man, I do want to teach the Bible. I've loved the Bible ever since high school. So just had that desire to do that. And so really, I grew up wanting to be in the NBA. As soon as I knew I couldn't be in the NBA, I want to be a pastor. So it's been a long time now where I'm like, man, I want to go into ministry, and haven't strayed since then. Even this morning, I was just like, I feel like I've got the best life ever. Like I'm getting to be here to share the gospel with young adults tonight. It's like I can't believe I get to do this. Yeah. So that's how I feel about my calling. For other people's calling, it's like, man, what are you good at? What are you passionate about? And where can you be used to share the gospel? I can't go and share the gospel with people at Target in downtown Minneapolis because I don't work there. I don't have the badge to get in. I can't share the gospel with people at Fox 9 because I don't have relationships there. But there are young adults here, people at Grace, who are connected all over the place because they have different gifts than mine, and they can go there, and maybe you're making a bunch of money, and you can share the gospel more importantly there. So, figure out what you're good at, and how can you share the gospel there. So
yeah, no, I think that's kind of like, in some ways, a pretty special thought. I think people think in order for my life to mean something, I have to be on staff at a church.
Yeah.
I have to have a life where I'm traveling a ton, I'm sharing the gospel a ton everywhere. But reality is, most people are not going to probably be reached by your message on a Sunday morning like they will by the people in your church who go out into the world taking the gospel wherever God places them and sharing the good news of Jesus.
Yeah. You started that by saying, in order for my life to mean something, you were created by the King of the universe, loved by the King of the universe. You could do nothing for the rest of your life, and your life still matters because you're loved by the King. So, yeah, I mean, social media has just like jacked up our beliefs of like you have to have a certain amount of followers, do cool things, go to cool places, and really the goal is faithfulness. Like the goal is to enter into heaven and have your heavenly Father say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant," not my good and impressive servant or good and whatever servant. Like we just want to be faithful to wherever you are.
Okay, so you just kind of hit on social media.
Yeah.
And I think having like a world and a life where you're helping to curate content that helps people to live life on mission, do all this stuff. Is your life that you post as perfect as it looks? No, I'm asking that kind of. I'm being a little, hyperbolic.
Yeah, I mean, no, for sure, no. And I'm not like the most active on there, but yeah, I'll post pictures of my kids all the time, and if you look, it's like, man, they're always so happy. This morning, so I live here. I took my two oldest girls; they're 4 and 2, and my parents took them to the zoo, and my 4-year-old's just like losing her mind, being like, I don't want to go, it's too cold. I'm like, trying not to lose my composure of like, your grandparents paid for tickets to go to the zoo. You're going to the zoo just to be happy. So yeah, there are plenty of times where I'm like, parenting is the most fun thing in the world and incredibly difficult all at the same time.
Yeah, we recently talked about that. She's actually doing kind of a seminar for young women here at Grace in a couple of weeks, talking through kind of social media, like how do you navigate social media well, especially from someone who just like decided I'm going to deactivate my social media.
No way.
Yeah, couldn't have been a better time. I deactivated all of my social media.
Wow.
I haven't been on it since like end of September, but I just deactivated all my accounts.
How has that impacted you?
It has been the best, most peaceful thing, like
Really?
best decision I've ever made. Yeah. Because my thing was like, I kept thinking, well, there's like kids that are in like my youth groups or camps, and like they could see the gospel from like what I post.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? They will come to it. Like God will send them another way. But the way that it was impacting my mental health, I was like, just not worth it. And it's not something I'm feeling called to like pursue as a career in social media. So I was like, I'm done. It's been the most fantastic thing ever.
Yeah, Andy and I were just talking about the fact that people don't see, Andy's behind the camera, if you don't know, but, you know, Andy and I were saying people don't see what's happening at home when, like, your 4-year-old, your 2-year-old are having a big meltdown, and then 5 minutes later, it's like, family picture, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, dude, this is all curated. Like, remember, what you're seeing is not real life. So young adults, don't take it too far. But, you know, when it comes to young adults and kind of where they're at in their faith, you've kind of walked alongside young adults a lot. So, you know, you've done, Be So, doing a podcast, reaching young adults, but you're also a young adult pastor, and you're leading that. So from your perspective, when you think about kind of what young adults struggle with, what would you say is like the biggest sort of struggle or pain point for a young adult?
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to hear from you guys about what it's like here. I will just say in Waco, it is like, man, I really just want to get married. And I'm like, I'm lonely. You can be in Waco for, I mean, it's typically like you went to Baylor and you stayed there, or you grew up in Waco, which it's kind of different types of people. And Waco's not a cool place to be a young adult at all. So you're not posting cool pictures in Dallas or, I mean, anywhere else. It's like you were in Waco as a young adult. That's really lame. There's families that are in Waco, but if you're a young adult there and you're single, you just feel really lonely if you don't have good friends, and if you're not dating someone, it's like it feels like every birthday, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm missing out. I'm getting older. Am I going to get married? Yeah. So really like singleness is a big pain point, and calling also. Waco doesn't have as many like cool jobs as other places would. Yeah. So it's trying to figure out, man, is this going to be my life for the next 20 years or so? So do people care as much about marriage here or not?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
they do?
1,000%.
Okay.
I think it's a conversation that I have with my friends consistently, like just being faithful in the waiting. And I heard the other day, like people think that waiting on God's timing is like, you know, you're just sitting down, you're just meditating, waiting. And he was like, no, it's a plank. Like that is a plank, and people don't talk about it enough. Like you are trying to hold steadfast in just waiting on God. And it's a huge pain point here. We just did our dating series, and it definitely brought in like the crowd.
Are there guys here that love Jesus? You're not. You don't look like you're married.
No, but I do have a boyfriend. I'm on my way. No, I have a fantastic boyfriend. Yeah. He's awesome, and he really, really loves Jesus a lot, and he's a good leader and all of the things. Awesome. Yeah, you'll meet him tonight. He's awesome, but I would say there might be a lack of guys around who love Jesus. And just, I think going into the co, we were concerned like, oh, everyone's going to want to date here and it's going to turn into like a weird thing. No, it's like they won't talk to each other. So.
Yeah, that's the same. That's the exact same thing with ours, where it's like, I'm talking to them about dating all the time, but then it's just like guys are here, girls over here. And I'm like, you're going to stay single if that's what you do.
Well, I think there's so much of a culture that's, at least where I've grown up, it's like, guys are like, if they go up to you and are like, hi, I'd love to go on a date, people are like, oh, they're so weird. Like, that's so creepy. How else would you like it to go?
Yeah.
That's the way.
Right.
And so guys are like, they're going to think I'm creepy or weird, or they're going to say no, and then all of their friends won't date me.
Yeah.
But I don't really know how to combat that.
Yeah.
But I do try to force my friends kind of, okay, do you guys want to do announcements together tonight?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we tried to like tell young adults that you're not going to be married to the same person 8 years into your marriage that you were at the beginning. Yeah. And, you know, my wife and I were having this conversation. She was on the panel with me, and I was like, man, if I knew who you would become at year 8 and I met her while I was dating you, I would want to be married to year 8, her. But the process is that like in marriage, like marriage highlights areas of your life that are so broken and redeems them and transforms them. God uses it in a really powerful way. And I think sometimes young adults think, man, I have to have arrived, before I can, start getting, into a relationship. And this person has to be like the person I want to be with perfectly for the rest of my life. And guess what? That's just not reality. Like, and so I think there's expectations. Social media has created a false reality around like how dating happens, how you're going to walk down the street and manifest the perfect person, like all this stuff that is just garbage and it's broken. Versus like, I'm committed to one person for the rest of my life. And this person is going to look different year after year. And hopefully they're reflecting Jesus in over the course of that time. But I choose them. And that choosing is tough. Like most people haven't had to choose someone for that long their entire life. But reality is that's like the beautiful picture of like redemption and God's choosing of us and revealing of his grace to us and all of that. And so, yeah, marriage is a beautiful picture, but I think young adults don't have a lot of beautiful pictures like that to say it's worth it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of people grew up with divorced homes, or your parents were married and they yelled at each other all the time, or just didn't show any affection at all. And it's like, man, I don't want that. So, man, that's possible though. Like my marriage is certainly not perfect, but it's like I'm so glad I'm married. I love my wife. She is different than when we got married because she's submitted to the Holy Spirit. And she's becoming more and more and more like Jesus all the time. Where oftentimes I'm like, man, you are maturing faster than I am in faith and in your walk with Jesus. Like I want to be where you are, which is exactly that's the person that you want to be married to.
Yeah. How did you guys meet?
I was a senior and she was a sophomore at Baylor, and I had known of her, and I was like, man, I'm very interested in this person. And
what made you interested in her?
I thought she was attractive,
Okay.
and I was hoping that she loved Jesus. I knew she'd worked at a Christian camp, so I was not going to marry someone who didn't love Jesus. Yeah. But so random, like Baylor's not that big, but it's bigger than you were at St. Ben's. Mm-hmm. How does that work? This is different from your question. How does it work going to an all-girls school, but it's also partnered with guys?
It's really not an all-girls school. It's St. Ben's, St. John's.
But like your classes, are they just with girls?
No, they're all together.
Oh,
so like I was a business major, so like all of my classes were on St. John's campus with honestly mostly guys. Yeah.
I thought it was all girls and all guys.
Big misrepresentation. St. Ben's, St. John's. They are all advertised as 2 different schools, but you really just sleep like 6 miles away from each other. Yeah, is like the whole thing.
6 miles?
Yeah, but it's up in St. Cloud, so it's like 6 minutes.
6 miles away from each other?
Yeah.
Well, that seems farther than.
But it's like thinking. One exit. But it's like if you were gonna run, it's like 6 mile run.
Yeah, but I think of my traditional. I went to Washington State University, so like traditional. State? Yeah, so like traditional college campus. 30,000 college students all in one space. I was living on Greek Row, so like walking to campus every day was just like, it's just easy. Mm-hmm. Like I'm running a class, a 10-minute, walk or whatever. That'd be different. It almost feels like the urban context of like a school. You're living at home, but you're like driving to class or something. So you got to find a parking spot and do all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's like different. The whole thing, and there's like a bus that goes back and forth every 15 minutes. But it's a big Minnesota thing. Benny, Johnny. Oh yeah. It's a whole thing.
So I just had a couple of interactions with her like on campus, and then asked her out. She said no because she was on a dating fast, which I was like, well, she just obviously doesn't want to go on a date with me, but she really was on a dating fast. Yeah.
So it really is holy.
Yeah. So she said no, and then the next week asked me to her sorority event. So I was so confused. I'm like, I thought you hated me, but now you want to hang out with me, and then we started dating a couple months later. So
get invited to a date dash or a formal.
Yeah.
Dang, man.
Okay, so like, what did it do to your confidence when she said no? Like, what's your encouragement for guys who like don't want to ask girls out and because of
did you recover
a fear like that?
I mean, I think so. I think you just need to expect people are gonna say no until that one person says yes that you get married to, and it can be so intimidating to ask a girl out, like just terrifying. And then they can say no. I was just talking to a young adult who someone had just said no to them, and that's You just listed off someone else who you're not going to get married to. It's just another step to finding your spouse. It's all part of the process, and it's so hard. And hard things are okay. I think we that's something I'm trying to figure out with my kids parenting wise. I'm like, I feel like they are so pampered that when something doesn't go right, they just throw a fit. Where it's like, no, sometimes you got to do hard things, and that's okay. And that's what I would tell young adult guys. Sometimes you got to do hard things, and sometimes a girl's gonna say no, and that also doesn't mean she's evil either. She just said no, and that's okay. There's a lot of other young adult women that love Jesus that might be interested in you. So.
Yeah, I feel like the hard thing, perspective. I don't think that young adults, maybe some of them have experienced some really hard things. I think that's reality.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of times, even for myself, I haven't been in a context or situation where I've had to really fear a lot of things. And so because of that, sometimes I can assume that in order for God to be pleased with me or for me to be walking in his will, life has to be easy.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's not the case. Like there's stories, where that's not the case, right?
Yeah. I mean, do you guys feel like you're walking in his will?
Yeah.
Is your life easy right now? I mean, I just asked you before. You're like, man, we're so excited and so tired.
No. Yeah. I think we've talked about this. I talked about this with young adults, but my wife has struggled with chronic pain for about a year now.
Wow.
Just like constant pain in all her body. Doctors don't know what it is. And for the last year, I've had to just be persistent in being in her world and in her life and serving her, jumping out of work to go help with kids or whatever. And there have been days where I'm like, why is it that God is moving so profoundly in our ministry, and yet in my personal home life, this just feels hard. It should be easier.
Yeah.
And then realizing like, what's the promise that I'm holding on to here?
Yeah.
That God is with me?
For sure.
Like that's a promise. Like God is with me in the hard. The promise is not, and life will be easier. No, faithful obedience in the same exact direction for a lifetime. I'm going to faithfully follow Jesus and obey what he's called our family to, and trust that even if he doesn't, even if he doesn't heal my wife, he's still good. He has not changed, Right. So I think that's been tough. I think a week ago, my wife's pain started to dissipate. Yeah, which is actually bizarre.
Has it been like every day?
Yeah.
I don't know how you parent through that. I'm like, parenting young kids on when you feel 100% can be hard.
I know.
Let alone when you're
she's
hurting.
like your wife. Like when you talk about like, how did I get lucky?
Yeah.
She's holier than me. Sometimes I'm like, how do you persistently love Jesus and yet like wake up with my back, shoulders, knees, feet hurt. Holding my daughter hurts.
Wow.
But like dad's got to go to work, and trust that. And some days are hard. That's the part of the curated picture. You don't sit in our house at 8:00 when my kids are in bed and she's just like, I'm so tired.
For sure.
But God is still good, and that's a tension. But you too, a week ago, what's going on with you?
Yeah, I mean, I got an organ removed just about 5 days ago.
But chronic pain for 8 months.
It's been pretty rough, but I think like the excitement of like a Tuesday like pulls me through every single time. I'm like, I just got to get through a Tuesday, and it's gonna be so great. And
so were you feeling pain every day?
Yeah, like literally every time I eat, my back, it would like, a whole boat of symptoms, but my back would feel like it's like breaking. And like,
eating?
like 20 minutes after I ate for like 1 to 2 hours. It felt, when we started, this started the week that the co was starting really, was when it really got bad. And I feel like Andrea's pain was pretty bad. And we were like, something is going on, because we were launching, and I was like, I don't even know if I can be here on the first Tuesday, because I like couldn't eat anything.
You thought you were having a heart attack on the highway and pulled off the road because you were like, I'm dying.
Yeah, the week before it started. And turns out it's just your gallbladder, guys. Just get it out.
Yeah.
It felt like the enemy was just like, it really felt like an attack. And but I think
he
being
hates
faithful,
the co.
Yeah, I know.
Like
that is what it is.
Like the co, watching from afar, I am like so excited by it. Like following along on Instagram, I'm like, this is amazing that God is doing this in the place where I grew up, in the place where I was like, man, no one else loves Jesus. And now it's like, wait, hundreds of people love Jesus. You told me people are driving 3 hours to come. Like the enemy hates that. He wants them stuck in loneliness, isolation, addiction, pain, depression. And like God's using the code to bring them freedom, hope, joy. Like he's gonna, like, I'm not shocked that he's negatively impacting you guys because he doesn't want this to do what God is doing in and through the ministry.
Yeah, we're in a state that is a dark space.
Yeah.
And lots of dark things happening all across our state, and yet God is still good, and He's moving amongst young adults. And honestly, we have the best jobs in the world. When we are refilling sodas on Tuesday nights at the end of the night, and we're
So you
refilling
don't call it pop?
No, well, I call it pop, but
Yeah.
I've gotten to a place where I know my Midwest friends, I think, will probably say soda. Would you say pop?
I say both.
Okay.
I thought everyone here says pop.
Yeah,
I say pop from like the west side.
Oh no,
Really?
pop is a
Yeah.
Minnesotan thing.
Yeah, where I'm like, I come back here and I'm like, wow, I forgot people call it pop. That is like,
Do you think your Minnesotan accent just flares up right when you're here?
I don't know. Like talking to you, I'm like, oh, I'm at home. Like you are a Minnesotan.
Yes, let's go. That's awesome.
Do I have? I don't think I have a Minnesota.
Yeah, you do. You
I
do.
think you do.
You do. It's cool though.
Then it's because I'm here with you guys. Because
you feel the cold.
yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like we talk about like, man, when we're refilling this like cooler, we have the best job. And when we complain, it's like, no. We have the best job. When we have a moment of frustration with someone else in a different department, we like remember, no, we have the best job.
Tell me
in
what
the
you were just
world.
complaining about Troy.
Oh, Troy, don't listen to that. It's not true. Yeah, without Troy, man, we have one of the best like leaders who believes in the next generation. And I think has been so excited about what we do. Like I've never met someone who advocates so well for our team. Yeah, it's just been a really encouraging, I think, season to have pastors who really believe in what we're doing. It's like, and then have a team. We have a team of like 110 volunteers who are just killing it. Okay, and they're just serving, giving up time, talent, treasure every week to serve young adults. And yeah, we have the best job in the world. Yeah. If you were to say something like, man, encourage the young adults on our teams who are serving faithfully every week, but also like a word to those who, man, are just walking in, week out. Maybe it's just like I get there at 7:04 right before we start, and then I'm peacing out at 8:02. Yeah. What would you say to them? So those are two different groups, but...
Yeah, the people who are serving, I would say that I think this is going to, and I'm sure there's times you get off work and you're like, the last thing I want to do is show up and serve. I'm sure there are times that feel that way. I think serving at the Co right now is going to be one of those things that 10 years later you look back on, like that was one of the most unique seasons of my life where I got to see God move. And I think you're gonna miss those days of like, oh my goodness, remember when we were like, God, if you brought 75 people, that'd be amazing. And then he brought 450 and you got to be used. So, and those roles are just as valuable as speaking on stage. They're different, but they're just as valuable, and you can be used to interact with a certain person just in different ways. And it's like, man, whatever you do, do it all to the glory of God, and God's going to be honored by you refilling the soda or the pop, just as He would be honored by a great sermon. And then the person who's like showing up late, leaving early. I'd probably say the similar thing to what I said to the guys is like sometimes doing something hard is okay. And there are certainly introverts that's like, I don't like showing up alone. I feel like everyone's looking at me, which is a lie. That in itself is pride. Like that it seems like humility. Like, oh, I don't want people to, I feel like everyone's looking at me, but it's like, no, it just don't be so self-centered. No one else is thinking about you of like, man, you showed up alone. Just go serve people, go get to know people. They want to get to know you, and I think you're going to find amazing community here. I think you're going to grow in your love for Jesus here. Show up early, stay late, not too late, so you guys can eventually go home. But that's one of the things that is different about young adult ministry. I did college ministry, which for us is different. They would at least go home, young adults, every time we meet. I'm like,
You gotta go.
You gotta go home. You gotta go home.
It's 9:45 and our alarm is going off in the building. Like
Exactly.
10 o'clock is closing
get
time.
out of here.
You gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So-
we love it.
You don't have to go home, but you
plugged in.
can't stay here.
You can't stay here. So go to a restaurant.
That's amazing.
Okay, so for the last one, for the unbeliever that's coming week in, week out, if you were just give them, hey, man, this is the gospel. Like, I want you to hear this truthfully. Like, what would you tell them?
Yeah, well, I would tell you, man, everything else has already been tested and tried and failed. You can try drugs, you can try alcohol, you can try relationships, you can try making money, you can try success, social media following. Look at all these people who have succeeded. It's failed because there's only one way to fill the void that's in your heart, and that's through knowing Jesus. Because the gospel is that God created us in a perfect world, and we, humanity, chose sin to turn our back on God that created a divide between us and God. He probably should have just been like, peace out. I'm done with you guys. And yet God so loved you, he so loved humanity that he sent his one and only son to live a perfect life, to live the life that you and I couldn't live. He followed every law, every commandment absolutely perfectly. And yet once again, humanity turned their back on God and said, we don't want you. Get rid of your son. And then Jesus was arrested, tortured, beaten, mocked, and then hung up on a cross to die. Not just for death's sake, but he died for us, taking our punishment. And then 3 days later rose again, defeating sin, hell, the grave. And if you place your faith in him, you can have full confidence that not only can you have a full life here, but an eternal life later with Jesus. And following Jesus isn't just like a get out of hell free card. It's a, you can get to live life to the full card here as well. So, following Jesus is better than money, sex, drugs, alcohol, whatever. He's better.
Yeah, that's good.
So good.
Yeah, well, we've loved having you here, honestly. Really feel encouraged to get to hear you tonight.
Well, you don't know if the sermon's going to be any good or not.
You know, you got it. You better put some weight on that.
Okay,
so,
I'll start writing it this afternoon.
Please do. Start in the next 10 minutes. But yeah, we loved having you here and just getting to talk to young adults, and excited to hopefully have you back again sometime soon.
Yeah,
so
thank you so much.
Absolutely, whenever I'll come.
Cool, sweet.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yep.